You're not cooler than Kip Winger recording bass lines with the sunglasses on in the studio. No one's cooler than that. But here's the truth. In 1993, Winger could have put out absolutely anything. They could have put out a masterpiece like Pull, and it still would have went nowhere. So that's why it's cool to see the effort that went into this, how they documented it, but still the fact that music was just changing.
Well, with this change of the weather, some people might have a little rock and roll pneumonia!
You wanted the best, you got the best from my home studio on Long Island, New York. Welcome to Ian Scotto Rocks. I am your host, Ian Scotto, and this is like a little bit of Ian Scotto Rocks After Dark, just chilling, commentating on a classic video that Winger made about the making of their 90s album, Pull, 1993's Pull. And I have this on DVD. Now, the thing is, like, the rips you'll see on YouTube, for one, not as good of quality. And I would honestly suggest you pick this up because on here, you've also got the music videos for Down Incognito, In My Veins, Spell 'Em Under, Who's the One. There's a bunch of footage on here that you're not going to find on the YouTube version. And it also has the making of 4, which is awesome, but not quite as fascinating, which we'll get into. But the thing is, it's almost impossible to find this now. You could find it on eBay or Amazon, but you're going to pay a little bit more for it. But I just say go out there and support Winger or whatever you can in any way. They may be wrapping it up very soon, as they've been sort of announcing. So if they come to your town, it may be one of the last times you have to see the great Winger. Now, the reason I find the making of Pull so interesting is that this is 1993, and the writing was kind of on the wall for the hair metal genre prior to this. You know, Nirvana blew up, Pearl Jam blew up. It was that great wall that people talk about where grunge came in, and what Winger was doing was uncool, and all of the bands of that time, really. Everybody who was an A-list or B-list band got taken down a notch because the new thing came in, and that's just always how the music industry works. If one band is good, we're going to sign 1 million bands that sound like that until we eventually kill the genre. So they made some changes when they went to the studio to do Pull, for sure. Paul Taylor was no longer in the band, and those keyboard-heavy, synth-heavy songs, those were gone. And in place of them, bringing in John Roth were some really heavy guitars. You have songs on here like Junkyard Dog that, by and large, sound like a Megadeth song. They definitely were changing things here and there, while at the same time still staying true to who Winger was for the most part. And they were in a pretty nice recording studio, as you'll see. But it had to be a little bit, quite honestly, of a mind fuck of like, all right, we could see things are shifting down. How do we put out an album to stay relevant? And Pull was an absolute masterpiece for the people who listened to it, but a commercial flop. And the reason the album was even called Pull was a shot about that. You know, they were originally going to go with Blind Revolution Mad, and they said, you know, the critics are just going to look at this as something to skeet shoot with. So it was Pull. You know, that's where the name came about. So let's just get right into it, because I think you're going to see, like, the musicianship on this album. Just the camaraderie they had in studio and the jokes and all that. They put out something absolutely classic. And there's more on this DVD, as I said. There's some of the touring, which, if you end up getting into that aspect, Winger 3 years prior was a band that was playing arenas and amphitheaters, and now they were playing these smaller clubs and smaller theaters, and pretty shortly after they disbanded. So this is a cool glimpse inside what it was like to be in a hair metal band, losing relevancy as 1993 came around, but still putting their all into the musicianship.
Welcome to our third album. Welcome us to our third album, dude.
Where it begins. Year 3. Mush.
Day number 3.
2.
2? 3.
Well, not really.
So what did we do today?
We did.
Riff Beast, Shredder, right? The Great Red Beach, the highly underrated Red Beach.
New single from the third album is called Whoa.
It's the British. It's only a British release, right?
Yeah. First one's called Whoa. Second one's called You Know Whoa.
These guys just loved fucking around in the studio, which you'll see a lot of in these next 20 minutes or so.
Let's go to lunch.
This is where we sing in the bathroom in Reb.
Look at Kip Winger, total badass.
And now we can't do vocals because Reb shit stinks like a nuclear explosion.
Well, look, Pally.
If you're a fan of the album Pull, which I obviously am, you know right away this is in for the kill. There's not a bad song on this album, by the way. Man, the collaborative effort of these guys, they were just on the same page at all times.
Hello.
Okay.
And what?
Okay, this is how we got it. Yeah.
Well, I'm dead.
Sorry.
Well, let's go to lunch.
Yeah.
You can see this is a nice studio, but it's like a little cramped, drum studio here for Rod, right? And things must have been interesting for Rod at this point because Winger was a little bit older than a lot of these bands, and Rod was older than the other guys. He was about 40 if you look this up. So he must have been thinking, man, like, what's next for me, It's kind of interesting. And he is a phenomenal drummer. He's one of the best drummers of the whole genre, I would say. Just like all of these guys are absolute beasts on their instrument.
Not that. Shipley's gonna put all kinds of stuff on it, so it's gonna sound really wild. And that's what I need in that part.
Okay.
Sorry, man. But just burn in the end, Burn in the end, at the ending.
No.
Because I hate to diss you on just because I need certain parts,
The whole album's a diss to Rod.
Hey,
If you're a fan of this album, you already know this is Junkyard Dog. And it's like these guys get this stuff in one take, it sounds like. Because this sounds perfect. Blind Revolution Mad, for those who know this album. And if you don't know this album, right after you watch this video, go listen to the full album. And buy it. Support Winger. Support Winger. The bass line that kicks in here, beautiful. I'm going to shut up. How fucking cool is Kip Winger with the sunglasses on in the studio? I don't care how much shit he got. He was a cool motherfucker, man. You're not cooler than Kip Winger recording bass lines with the sunglasses on in the studio. No one's cooler than that. This all sounds like it's one take, like what was on the album. These guys went to the studio and they did not fuck around. They had fun, but when it was time to lay down tracks, beast. Look at all that equipment. I mean, you're looking at state-of-the-art 1993 right here.
One more blind revolution, man.
Love the harmonizing, right? And that's pretty much what you got on the album.
Number one.
Okay.
Is the future and tell me what is the loneliest number.
As I told you, they had fun making these albums.
You hungry, kid?
I'm not really, but go ahead.
You're like, you hungry, Kip? He's in the fucking zone, man. He's not thinking about eating. You're watching a master at work.
One more blind revolution, man.
Food.
Beast. And then you have footage like this of them just eating. That TV, bro, that's 1993, man. That's state-of-the-art 1993 right there, that little TV.
That's some exciting footage, boy.
What size on your rep?
Just this one.
We can't do
It's
this.
not a bass or
And this producer, if you look him up, man, he worked with a ton of major bands at the time. And I wonder if he knew in his mind, man, this album might go absolutely nowhere. As good as it is, and it is good, man. Listen to Reb shred.
Try some rhythmic shit.
And people love this album now, all these years later. They performed it in its entirety recently. Shred. All right, not quite yet. They're listening back to tracks, but you're going to hear him shred. Probably one of the best guitarists in the game. Look at him just fucking around the producer.
Good sound. I like the sound of it with the wah-wah. It's pretty cool.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Here we go.
Next song.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very cool.
Solos take so much out of me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I feel like
Yeah.
God is
You
coming,
get so
taking
connected, don't you?
my
probably?
life
Yeah.
force. Just, I
Yeah.
like I'm gonna die a day earlier
Yeah.
every time I play a solo. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Don't play too many. They're everywhere.
They better not play too. They better not tour.
you sound like, it sounds like what you hear on the album, and I think they were able to get this done in a relatively short amount of takes.
I'm not crazy about that to me.
Yeah, but the beginning is like, fuck, he's a medicine man.
Yeah, that is good.
Very cool.
And this is like a ritual.
Very close. Even personify that more because now the rhythm track's like breathing with.
Like I said, they get it right away, but Kip especially, and Reb, perfectionists, right?
Think you should play under I told her?
Yeah, you kind of lose it.
Yeah.
Exactly what I was
Exactly
thinking.
Me too.
Me too. Just what I was thinking.
Spell 'em Under. As you can see, there are ballads on this album, but I think they try to not go as traditional hair metal and do something a little bit updated. But here's the truth. In 1993, Winger could have put out absolutely anything. They could have put out a masterpiece like Pole, and it still would have went nowhere. So that's why it's cool to see the effort that went into this, how they documented it, but still the fact that music was just changing. Beautiful song. That's what happens when you have long hair and you're popping bubbles. Total goofballs, right? Definitely didn't take themselves too seriously.
Here for the one that you completely blew. There we go. Sorry. There we go.
Where were you?
God, Winger.
Even with like a perfect take, they still got to fuck around a little bit.
Oh, let's check it out.
Don't you know there'll be hell to pay? You'll be paying till your dying day.
Interesting thing about this track, which is not on Pole, that I'll let you know after this.
You'll be
Because a lot of you are probably like, what is this track?
day.
Did I rush that one? The pitch was funky. 2, 1, 2, 3.
You'll be paying till your dying day.
Next.
All right, so that track was a bonus track that wasn't released until they did the Best of Winger. It's a song called Hell to Pay. and it was a diss to Metallica, as you may remember Lars Ulrich throwing the dart at the Kip Winger bullseye. So they made a little response diss to them. That didn't make it to the album, but that's what Hell to Pay is.
Hear the clock tick tock, tick tock, tick. In for the kill.
This is obviously from In for the Kill. A lot of overlapping vocals you hear going on here. Kip was, man, great range, right, with those highs. Great singer, and he still has it.
Here we go. Okay.
You know what? Turn me down a little. Turn up those guitars and crank the mix a little bit. Just a little bit. Not your
Oh, right.
self.
Embarrassing me on camera, right? Okay, very cool. Try this.
When the Iron Man begins to rise.
Another ballad, Who's the One?
And the Holy One.
And they did a music video for this, which once again, you're not going to see in the YouTube rip. Get the DVD if you can.
Who's the one who claimed my liberty, robbed my soul of freedom?
Listen. Fucking hell, Winger. Listen.
Nature's dream. And who's the one who claimed my liberty, robbed my soul of freedom?
It's a huge mixing board, right? Like, if you compare that to what they do in the making of Winger 4, they're recording at a small home studio, something like this. I mean, the days of a band like Winger in a state-of-the-art studio like that are kind of long gone. Maybe for the final master or something like that. But by and large, they're not spending weeks or months in a state-of-the-art studio like that, which that's just about a state-of-the-art studio for 1993. It may not be what Metallica was using, but this is some solid equipment, right? Probably cost a lot of money to rent out a studio like that.
It's the mix. I said that was the mix. Oh, no. Hang on.
All right, so that really concludes the in-studio recording portion of Winger, the making of Pull. And like I said, it's interesting because the band eventually would disband pretty shortly after as the venues got smaller and less revenue was coming in. And you had stuff like, as I said, Metallica taking shots, Beavis and Butthead. You know, and all these years later, I can be a Metallica fan who still loves Winger. I mean, I just bought, and a lot of people don't like this album, but I did just buy the Load Remasters triple disc deluxe version, which is pretty cool. You know, and I know that James Hetfield and Kip Winger have made some amends there. So I think all these years later, people kind of look back on that stuff and say, you know, it was kind of silly, I think we all say, because these are two great bands. But if you were to ask me on a musicianship level, who is the band that I think was more skilled? Winger, man. I mean, Rod's drumming, Kip's songwriting, Reb's shredding that you see there. I would take Reb any day over Kirk Hammett. And that's no disrespect to Kirk Hammett. These are all great musicians, but those guys were absolutely phenomenal. Pull is a masterpiece of an album, but sometimes, man, music just changes, and I wonder how they felt this album was going to go over because they saw it. They saw bands like Motley Crue going less and less successful from where they were. You know, bands on the A-tier level really becoming a non-entity. So I wonder if they had the confidence that Pull was going to be a massive album. But like I said, they kind of took a shot. By the way, my lights are flickering. There's like flash flooding going on. So at any moment, this video might cut out. So, you know, maybe I should wrap it up if you're here. That's the sign from the heavens telling me to wrap it up. As always, as I said earlier, support the band Winger. And I really actually appreciate, look, they could put a copyright strike on me and I will gladly, abide by that. But while I was making this video, I saw that as of right now, I'm able to use this source material. So if you like it, there's stuff on the Winger demo anthology that you could find. And you'll see that when they went to the studio, they had a real idea in mind. Like if you listen to Motley Crue's demos, for example, from the Dr. Feelgood album, they needed Bob Rock to really make a solid album. The Winger demo sounded really great, and then they just polished it more and more when they went into the studio and came out with this Pull 1993. Great album. And like I said, the fact that I'm able to use this material, I really think you guys should support a band like Winger, who is still out on the road possibly one last time. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. We're going to be doing more great hair metal content. I don't know if Pull is necessarily a hair metal album, but it's a great album from Winger that doesn't get the recognition it deserves, because I like it even more than the first two albums, which were absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, be sure to check out the merch store. If you really like this video and you want to show your support, you could send us a super thanks. I hope you like the commentary here. And if you want to watch more great content from Ian Scotto Rocks, click this video right here. And I'm going to wrap it up because the lights are flickering. The power might be out at any second. So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it.